It's Matty and Patty, coast to coast from Brooklyn. It's Pat McManaman to San Francisco. It is Matt Younger. Say hello, Matty.
Hey, Patty. Get fired up.
Getting pumped. Playoffs.
It's
playoffs. Playoff time.
Best time of the year.
Welcome to the Cleveland Sports Hour. We are two self-aware but unapologetic homers who spend far too much time reading, watching, and thinking about the Cavs, the Browns, and the Tribe. But tonight, mostly about the Cavs. So if you like the informed, intelligent Cleveland fan's perspective, you've come to the right place. Well, Matty, it's been a long, weird, and frustrating 5.5 months, but the real season is finally here. I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, I have been preparing myself mentally for disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreak. I am prepared to cry a lot. I'm prepared to be shaking in the middle of games.
Yep.
I'm prepared to have my work productivity drop substantially.
Drastically.
I mean, it's going to be dangerous. I'm not sure. I'm a little busy at work right now. I'm not sure I can take this.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
No.
And there we are.
And that piece of music to start us off, it's the music gets me more pumped up than anything on the planet. So it kind of it's irrational how pumped up it gets me. It's also, I picked it as a little dig to our favorite non-actual Cleveland fan, Cleveland poser, Scooter McGee. He actually, do you know he does this? That he literally will drop whatever he's doing and call me on the phone if he hears that song.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, he did it I think last weekend. I was in the middle of having all my nieces and nephews over. He just calls and starts shouting at me because he's so pumped up and doesn't know what to do with himself. Well,
like a child.
Scooter, yeah, he's like a child, but we knew that. Scooter, this is how you could be feeling about the playoffs. But you made different choices in life. So today we're going to preview the Cavs' first round matchup against SVG's Pistons. Can Lou hold his own? What's the lineup strategy? What are some, who are we looking to break out? All those things. We'll break that stuff down. But we're also going to look at their path to the finals and assess the rest of the playoff bracket a little bit. If there's time, we'll touch briefly on some Browns and Tribe news. But otherwise, it's all about the Cavs today. Things off on the right note here.
Ooh, I know what that means.
It's time for something to come back that we sent away for most of the regular season because
yeah,
but it's
too hard.
It's too hard to do. But now we got 7-game series here.
It's time.
It's time for the kill list to come back.
Oh, it's killing season. My blood's getting angry. Yeah. Angried up. Patty.
I'm getting all it's just fired up to begin with. All right, Matty. Anyone you're ready to hate in this first opening series here?
Interesting one because I don't hate a lot of these Pistons players. Honestly, this is not the days gone by when the Pistons were so hateable. This is not the Isaiah, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer bad boy. I didn't hate Dumars, but the rest of those guys, so much hate. Rick Mahorn. This is not the mid-2000s, the Wallaces and Rick Hamilton and Chauncey. I hated those teams too. I don't hate these guys so much. I think the guy that stood out during the regular season, hate will develop, clearly. Yeah. It'll come out. I was going to say, just you wait. I think you're going to find there's plenty of it'll come. That's one of the fun things about the playoffs is I find myself starting to want to murder people that I previously had no feelings at all for. The guy who stood out in the regular season for us, we talked about this, was Marcus Morris. Yep,
he's my number one kill for this. I already want to kill him.
Oh, you're there already.
I'm there already. I hate that guy. Such an asshole.
He's the one to watch, I think, right? He's going to get into it with LeBron. So the other guy that jumps to my mind, because he'll be on LeBron a lot, is Tobias Harris.
Yep.
Who, again, previously I've had nothing bad to say about. But
they have a little history.
Yeah. And in the fulcrum of the playoffs, weird stuff happens.
Exactly.
Reggie Jackson has a pretty hateable face, in my opinion.
Exactly. It is. I was just going to say, it's his face more than anything. He's got the bug eyes.
And there's every chance, we'll get into this in X's and O's, but our perimeter defense being a little weak and him torching us into the middle on pick and rolls with Drummond could be exacerbating, and that's the kind of thing that can make me hate somebody a little more than I should.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Let me throw one out there for you.
Please.
Yeah, SVG, I think, is a very hateable coach.
Oh dear God, yes.
I mean, when we're not playing him in the playoff series, he's actually one of my favorite personalities. I mean, the you may have seen the vine of him just circling on a chalkborard or whatever the dry erase board to the guys. It's like, we'll just build a fucking wall.
Yeah, that was incredible.
It's just hilarious. I love that shit about him, and just the way his personality is great. But the thing that drives me crazy about him is they teach his teams to cheat. Is obviously we have the history with the roided up Magic beating out the Cavs. And what year was that? 07?
That was the 08-09 team.
08-09 team. And how he teaches them all to grab and hold and do moving picks. But now the whole league does it, and the league lets it happen. So he was a pioneer in the moving pick era.
Infuriating. This is an aside, but I was reading a Joe Posnanski piece about the last night of the season and the Warriors and Kobe. Mm-hmm. And he was going through how awesome the Warriors season was and how good. And the thing he said about Draymond, amongst other things, was, and he sets the best picks in the league. And it just angered. Pat. Makes me want to murder.
We're not even playing them yet, Matty. We might not even play them. We might not see them. We might see them at all. We might lose before we get there. We'll talk about this a little bit, but is it a foregone conclusion that they make it out? Who knows?
Yeah.
I keep seeing people saying you know what? If there's a case to be made, it's okay for Draymond to be your favorite player on the Golden State Warriors. Fuck you. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's wrong.
There's no one that should be your favorite player on the Golden State Warriors unless you're a Golden State fan.
I think you could excuse Andy.
Okay, Andy, fine.
And I think I would give some people Sean Livingston.
Don't talk to me about Andy right now.
All right, I'm sorry.
It still hurts. It's still a little
sorry.
too close.
I shouldn't have done it, Patty. I'm sorry. I knew better.
Yeah, I'm still a little. It hurts. It hurts.
It's emotional. I understand.
Yeah. Sean Livingston. Sean Livingston can be your favorite Golden State Warrior, and you can cheer for him in general. I'm happy for him. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the rest of the playoff run here in a little bit, but I mean, who left in the playoffs is going to have a really hateable roster that we might run into. So I mean, obviously, the Bulls aren't in the playoffs. Is there anyone that outside of Golden State, is there anyone that can reach Joakim Noah and Mike Racist Dunleavy levels of hate?
That's a great question. The team that
it's a great question. It's your own. Our script.
Thank you, Patty.
That's a wonderful, really insightful. Go ahead.
We're not going to see them, but if they were any good and there was a chance, those Houston Rockets are so goddamn hateable.
I can't believe they're in the playoffs. They're so bad.
It's crazy. They really backed their way into that thing.
They're so bad that we lost to them.
Yeah. A truly hateable team, though, and once Harden starts doing the thing where he just drives and gets a call, gets Dwayne Wade 06 finals treatment going to the rim, it makes me so mad.
Where he drives, no one touches him, and he does this head jerk, he's
been shot.
He's been shot, and he does it every time because he knows the head jerk. I mean, one thing I will say, it's really good. It's a really fast head jerk that looks like someone hit him in the face, so it looks like refs fall for every time. It's crazy. Yeah, they're very hateable, but
they would be there. We're not going to see them. The other West teams that have a chance, the Clippers.
We've talked about
in a series would get there almost immediately.
Instantly. I mean, a player who chokes his own he choked or he punched his. He punched.
That was a punch.
The trainer, right?
Yeah.
And there's also. Yeah, his buddy, his friend, who there's a shot of him sitting on the bench while the trainer's rubbing someone's leg, and he's sitting next to him, and he literally, while the camera's on, grabs his head and shoves it into his crotch.
Yeah.
As friends do.
Although I will say, Pat, if you, I don't know if you watch Broad City, but he had an amazing cameo on Broad City this season.
I mean, I will say he's one of my favorite people to see act. He's hilarious.
He should host Saturday Night Live immediately.
I don't know why he hasn't done it yet.
Very strange.
Did he do that? I think he did do an appearance on Saturday Night Live, didn't he? Or maybe it was a skit or something like that. It was the book club. there was some kind of book club skit where he was hosting it. Matt Barnes was there. Shump was there. And they were doing a book club with, Chardonnay about, I forget what the book was. It's not Of Mice and Men. Maybe it's a Nicholas Sparks book or something. But it was
I don't think it was Saturday Night Live. That sounds more like a
Funny or Die thing.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Maybe Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe it's Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, makes sense.
Something like that.
It's awesome. It's worth watching if you haven't seen it. Actually,
as much-
hat tip to Julian McWilliams, my former colleague, who pointed that out to me. Anyway,
friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Yes.
As much as I like him in those circumstances, I would want to murder him immediately in a series. So the Clippers have tremendous potential. The other West teams, not so. The Thunder, I don't hate. The Spurs, I mean, I'd find a way, but they don't stick out. In the East,
I mean, possible second round foe, Boston for sure.
So much hate.
Everyone. I mean, I can't think of. I'm trying to think of players in that team that I don't hate. Maybe Avery Bradley is,
Yeah, you'd start to hate him pretty quick, though.
Probably. Yeah, but
Jared Sullinger, I am disposed not to hate because of the Ohio State connection, but I think I'd find my way clear to it. I'd find my way clear to hate Evan Turner as well. Ohio State.
Exactly. But is there any room is there any room left for hate after you're hating on Brad Stevens? If you're hating on Jay Crowder, you're hating on
Kelly Olynyk.
Yes, goon thug, Canadian goon.
I will get into this later. I'm dreading playing them because I know what they're going to do and it's going to make me angry. I'm mad about it already.
Yeah, exactly. My blood's already boiling.
So plenty of room there. The Miami Heat, plenty of hate to go around there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then Toronto, I think there's a lot of guys I can hate. I mean, Skinny Kyle I like, but in an actual playoff series, I want to murder him.
Easily. Because he'll get the same, like the game in Toronto that we lost that last one, where he just started getting all the calls down the way, down the stretch. I would get real mad and angry.
And he's got that obnoxious fake tough guy face, the sour milk face.
Oh yeah,
I'm being tough. Like he's taking a shit or something.
Yeah.
That shit. Stop fucking mugging and posing.
Hate it so
much.
Oh, Patty, I'm happy. There's a lot of hate out there.
There's a lot of hate left. There's a lot of hate left in the world.
That's great. So that really lifts my spirits.
Yeah, me too. So before we move on to the next section, I just thought another thing to talk about. Did you have more hate to go around?
No, that's enough. Well, there's going to be so much more over the next few weeks. Let's let it come on its own.
Agreed. I think a good question that I hope our listeners will jump in on if they have different ideas. But obviously, last year's last playoff, every playoffs, right? There's an unexpected hero. Guy comes out of nowhere, steps up, and becomes like the most indispensable, crucial guy in your team. Last year, that was obviously Delly. Who could it be this year? You can't say Delly again. Because now we're
counting on him.
We're counting on it, and I might even put him as his number one most likely to completely crush our hopes and dreams by sucking, by suddenly reverting to a 20% free throw shooter or a 3-point shooter. Who do you think could do that for us this year?
That's interesting. So the first one that comes to my mind seems almost impossible to me, but it's Timofey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was gonna be my. Damn it, you stole my pick. Because
I am currently not counting on him at all. We'll talk about this, but he might not see the light of day outside some special circumstances. But God, if he could somehow put it together and start playing like he did last year, it would be incredible and very valuable for us in the right circumstances. So he's one. Guys that we're not, Shump, I'm also starting to discount a little bit based on his season and worried about, and he's somebody that could really step up and come through in a big way, even if it's just defensively, because we're going to go against some guards, whoever we come across.
Right, absolutely.
Where he's going to be important. And this is sort of a cheat, but like Kyrie becoming the Kyrie who we thought we were going to need in order to win a championship, which I'm not counting on right now.
Yeah, but that is a cheat. I mean, because we know we're not going to win it all unless he regains his even if we need him to at least regain his late regular season form from last year, which he has let alone the next level. And we aren't winning anything if that's if we don't get that Kyrie back. So I would throw my brain Channing Frye out there as Timo is my main pick, just because he was so crucial to the team last year. He hasn't been this year, and we've managed to figure out how to sometimes play well without him. But he's the guy that he's still the same guy. He's a little bit of a head case, and maybe like the do or die atmosphere, or being able to focus in on one team, so his assignment gets simplified. I think the same opponent every night might actually serve to help Timo stop being such an idiot. He'll still have the hands problem, but
God.
But I feel like his biggest problem is that maybe he's not that bright, or he just gets confused very easily, or he gets in his own head. If you can simplify his role to being what we need him to do, and he just does it, you could see him coming out and becoming really crucial in games 3, 4, 5, 6 down the road. So he's my number one, but I put Channing Frye as the other one just because he can get hot in a hurry.
That's true.
And I've been really surprised by his defense. He had some monster blocks.
He's been very playable on that end.
Absolutely.
And I think we will see, at least initially, way more minutes from him than for Timo.
Yeah.
Even against
we'll talk about this.
Talk about this, but even against the Pistons, I think that's true.
That's an interesting take, but we'll get there. So yeah, okay. So I like that. So the three we're looking at, and I agree with you on Shump, but yeah, Timo number one, Shump and Frye maybe close number twos.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else. RJ is going to come through, and James Jones.
What about McRae?
Yeah, I mean.
He was a hero in the final game of the season. He was great.
Something bad has happened if he's playing a lot of minutes, which I guess could make him an unexpected playoff hero.
It's true. He could. I think he's a wild card. But yeah, if a crazy injury hits our depth, I could see him coming in playing some minutes.
Yeah.
But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Amen.
All right. So we've had this kind of like semi-regular thing happening lately on the podcast where we take terrible takes from our friends and build a podcast around them.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of them out there. It's great. Fertile ground.
Fertile ground. This week it comes from a Harvard professor. One of our more hateable friends.
Oh yeah,
Dave Deming. I love him because he's so hateable.
I love him, and he's so hateable.
Exactly, precisely.
It's both.
It's both. Yeah, I don't think I would love him as much if he wasn't so hateable.
No, that's true.
I think he would be more inconsequential, and that's what makes him Dave Deming. So David Deming, Harvard professor, big shot, sent us not just one terrible take, but 3 terrible takes, Matty. Not really. The takes aren't that terrible, but he had 3 takes before the podcast. He texted us about it, and it was actually 3 things that we were kind of going to get into anyway. So it's kind of nice to use that to frame things. So
yes, it's a good device for us.
Yeah. So I'll start by reading his text. He says, so first he said, Bill Simmons and others are talking about how the Cavs are fragile and can be upset. He says, this is Deming. Terrible take. The Cavs have issues, but they are going to breeze through the Eastern Conference. Atlanta, Boston, and Toronto don't scare me even a little. It's a hard road, but I still like our chances a lot better than the average pundit. Instant reaction, Matty.
Dave walks among us, but he is not one of us.
Yeah.
He does not understand the Cleveland mentality heading into a playoffs. So you can't talk with that kind of bravado.
This is the worst take he has.
And this is like when he told us that the Browns were guaranteed to go to the playoffs in
just
2007 or whenever that was.
I still haven't forgiven that motherfucker.
I know.
Motherfucker fucking jinxed us. Dave, again, still love you, but fuck you. Fuck you so much for that. So hey, sorry, honey. So yeah, it's Saturday morning, so my kids are awake listening to this. And Matty, I should have realized this is the playoffs now, so I really should have started this podcast with this cursing amnesty.
Yeah.
Warning: explicit language throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, Pat cannot be held responsible for what comes out of his mouth for the next few weeks.
I think I'm gonna get some notes from the teachers by the end of the playoffs.
I hope so.
Like, what's going on at home, Patrick? Your son has the mouth of a sailor. Anyways, this is. I mean, like, I think, first of all, there's the Cavs mentality, the Cleveland fan mentality, which is I would not put a cap past the Cavs to lose this first round matchup. I'm not expecting it, but I'm always prepared for it. One.
Yes.
Two, any Cleveland team, no matter how good, no matter how invincible they look or seem, even if they were as invincible looking, even if they were 73-9 this season, I would consider them potentially fragile because they're a Cleveland team. They're a Cleveland team. That means by definition they are fragile. But taking aside all of the Cleveland stuff, this team is fragile. They are so inconsistent throughout the year.
Yeah, within the course of a game.
Of course, the game, we blow 20-point leads with regularity.
Love blowing 20-point leads.
Because
more times than I can count.
Because our entire team right now is predicated on sometimes playing defense and playing offense to get our offense is predicated on creating open 3-point shots, which is great. It's a good thing, but it's the only thing our offense does well with consistency. Which means if we aren't hitting those 3-point shots, we give up 20-point leads in a fucking hurry. That is like, I mean, that's the definition of a one seed in the NCAA bracket that's probably going to lose a game to a bad team because they're 3-point shots. If you can only hit 3-point shots and only live by that, if you rely on it for everything, it tends to make you vulnerable to a bad night.
And on top of that, Patty, it's not like this feels like the closest group in the world that has a real sense of themselves and is really coalescing around some vision for the playoffs. That could happen, and I hope it happens. It did last year. It's possible, but it does not feel like that right now. And there's sort of that specter of, well, maybe LeBron will leave again if something bad happens, and they'll start like I have that pit in my stomach thinking about that. This team has that for sure.
Yep. The chemistry on this team is so bad it got a coach fired, even though they're in first place.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. So and again, I will say the other thing is there are a couple of teams that give us particularly big matchup issues. One, the current team we're facing in the first round, the Detroit Pistons are a team that has a monster big, which means we might need to play Timofey Mozgov, Stonehands, Timo, a lot of minutes, or try something radical. Like, that doesn't make me feel happy.
No,
I'm confident going into this, and we don't have. I said we don't have the perimeter defense we used to have. I'm worried about Reggie Jackson. There's a lot of scare.
They got a lot of guys they can throw at LeBron.
Yep.
Switch pick and rolls with their 3s and 4s with Harris and Morris. Yeah.
Now I agree. Hawks don't scare me, but they're still a good team.
No,
Boston. Go ahead.
So it's interesting. I wanted to raise this because Dave framed this around Bill Simmons. I was listening to the Simmons podcast with Haralabov Bulgaris, and they both said really thought like the Hawks could give the Cavs a hard time in the series. And I was like, that's the one team that does not worry me. We swept them last year. We swept them in the season series this year. We just beat them pretty handily in a game that had meaning for both teams.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I want them more than anody.
We're in their head. I don't think we'll sweep them again because I think they're a good team, and I think they'll figure something out. That we had a couple of close calls in that sweep, anyway. So I wouldn't have to sweep them again, but they don't scare me.
Yeah.
Boston scares me.
Boston, yes, Boston would scare me. I would go immediately to visions of us being the 1, them being the 4, or whatever, the 4-5 seed coming out in the second round, knocking us off and sending LeBron out of the team, right? Like my head goes there immediately. The Heat scare me. The Raptors scare me a little.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
We faced the Celtics in the second round. I don't want to see the Celtics in the second round with narratives of LeBron being unhappy.
Yeah. I want none of that.
None of that. Toronto, again, they scare me a little bit just because they are good. We had some tough games against them, but I still feel pretty confident that we can beat them. And I'm not that scared of them, even though they're a good team. Like, anything can happen. The Cavs are so frustrating; they can lose to any team in the East.
Right.
Like we could. That's the thing. We could lose a series to any team in the East. I really believe that right now. I mean, in terms of the actual playoffs bracket in the East. Even though the only teams that really do scare me are actually Detroit is one. The Pacers also scare me a little bit. Again, I still expect us to beat them, but they scare me. Boston and the Heat.
Yeah.
But the Heat, I think you and I agree, scare us the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually most worried about that just for matchup issues alone.
Although everybody, I've listened to a bunch of playoff previews, and everybody, I'm stealing some thunder from later, but whatever.
Right.
A lot of people are picking the Hornets to beat them.
That's interesting to me.
So I wonder if you and I, Patty, are overrating the blowout that we took at their hands in Miami.
We probably are a little bit
in March.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also watched them the last night of the year in that Celtics game, where they built up a close to 30-point lead and choked it away, and they looked horrible in the second half. Just like they didn't look scary at all.
Yeah. It might be.
So I think we might be a little biased.
That's true.
And I'm also just worried about
the mental stuff.
Them getting in LeBron's head specifically.
Yes, precisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
My other thing is, I think also they aren't that necessarily great. They aren't that good of a team. Obviously, they could have easily finished the 6th seed, right?
Yeah.
It was all like a 3-4 way tie, right? For 3, 4, 5, and 6, more or less, like off by a game.
I mean, they all had identical records.
Right. So it was a tiebreaker.
Just tiebreakers that split it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So they aren't that good, but I think they particularly match up very well against our team, which is why they worry me. So anyway, Dave, that is a terrible take.
Don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, and just seriously, Dave, come on, be a pal, be a friend. Don't be that guy who says jinxy things. All right, so the next thing is he says the Spurs will come out of the West. I don't feel crazy confident about this, and maybe it's wishful thinking since they are a better matchup for us. But I think they're going to D up on Golden State big time and pull off the upset. I don't think this is going to happen. But I don't think this is crazy at all. I mean, obviously, this is Pop and the Spurs. I'm looking forward to seeing the Spurs in Golden State. That's one series I'm definitely going to try and watch.
You think we'll see that?
I think it's the most likely outcome, but I don't know because there's
I think the Thunder could do a little damage in that one. That's possible.
I really wanted the Thunder to fall to the 4 seed. It's so frustrating. Would have loved.
Yeah, although the Clippers aren't playing bad, and the Clippers aren't going to be scared of the Warriors.
That's true.
That series, I think they can give them a little bit of a hard time. They're not going to beat them. The Warriors team's way too good, barring an injury.
Yeah.
But they can mess with them. That's not a terrible take by Dave.
No, I don't think it's a terrible take at all. This one actually is pretty,
especially because he couched it.
It's a bold take. He doesn't feel crazy confident about this, and neither do I. But I agree that it's a totally realistic outcome. And I will say this: the funny thing is, if that actually happens, Matty, it's gonna feel like when LeBron's Heat lost in the finals. It'll feel like a mini. It'll be a great consolation prize, even if we don't win at all, just to see Golden State lose. I'll be rooting against them. I will be
tremendously
so happy because it'll be such a. I will just have so much Schadenfreude in glee.
Yes,
it'll make me so happy.
Yeah, I might get murdered out here based on the behaviors I exhibit if that happened.
Oh man, it'll make me so happy. It'll be pretty intense if that happens.
I'm there with you.
All right, and then his last take is, if the Cavs don't win at all, they should try to trade Kyrie for Chris Paul, but please not Melo. I could take or leave D Wade.
I don't know. I don't think that's terrible.
No, and honestly, if Kyrie plays like this the rest of the playoffs, I mean, we've only got 2 years left maybe of LeBron at his peak, and who knows? Honestly, this could be his last peak season. Every season he's in could be the last time we see him at his peak powers. Last year he was clearly below his peak powers, just in terms of his athleticism, right?
Yeah.
And obviously his 3-point shot fell off last year. It's been gone all year. His jump shot's been gone basically ever since he came back. He's sort of gotten it back a little lately, but that could just be a hot streak that goes away. We haven't had peak LeBron back, and it's it could be complete. It could fall off a cliff at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of think, if Kyrie doesn't get his shit together and have an awakening, I'll on that Force Awakens podcast. If he doesn't have an awakening in this playoff, sorry, I apologize, everyone. Sorry.
Jeez,
I'm still proud of that Photoshop I did though. It's pretty good. Kyrie is Finn. No, but if he doesn't awake in these playoffs, we don't have time to fuck around, man. And the Chris Paul's passing and defense combo would be really, really helpful to this team.
And it seems also like
the Clippers should make that trade because they need to get young. They don't have a chance to win with that core. They have to hope for something else, and they should jump with that trade.
Especially because it seems like Paul could be the kind of person who could actually be a point guard.
Yeah,
he's the kind of relationship where LeBron would actually let him be the point guard.
Exactly.
Which is increasingly a problem with Kyrie. We'll talk about that more in a minute.
Yeah, yes, we will. Please not Melo. Totally agree, Dave. I could take or leave D-Wade. I actually agree. I don't think there's any realistic way we get him. Although, unless he does,
no, he's going to resign. He's going to sign a 2 or 3 year deal that'll be his last in Miami, I think. And
yeah, although it would be great actually if LeBron convinces D-Wade to do a 1 year veterans minimum sabbatical in Cleveland. That would be awesome. Just to fuck you, Pat, to Pat Riley. But
yeah, I would love it for that. But
Wade would never do that. Anyway.
No.
But yeah, I think that's also a reasonable take. But your first take, Dave, just don't stop that. Don't make takes like that. Don't say stuff like that. Please.
We're watching out for jinxes here.
Yeah. All right, Matty, I think we can skip ahead to the what to look for section here, right? We sort of touched on how crazy the last night of the season was. Anything else you wanted to add before I move on?
I'll only add one more note. The thing I was really hoping for that felt like it was going to happen was that we'd get the Heat is the 3, the Celtics is the 6, and then the Hawks Hornets is the 4-5.
The Hawks and the Hornets.
Right, which would have been awesome for the Hoopers joke, but also would have meant that the teams two of the teams we're worried about most, the Heat and the Celtics, would have knocked one of them out in the first round, and then would have matched up against another team we're worried about, Toronto, in the third. Like I would have liked that.
It was so close.
So close. As it is, I think it worked out pretty good for us. That Hawks Celtics series, Hawks could take care of them for sure. And then the Heat are still lined up in that other bracket.
I was looking at some tweets from Hardwood Paroxysm, CBS's Matt Moore, pointing out like the metrics are really not favoring the Celtics in that matchup, just because a lot of their offense and their defense is predicated on turnovers, and the Hawks don't turn it over a lot. One, Two, if their offense is predicated on those like fast breaks, and because their half court offense is like 22nd in the league. Thanks to the genius Brad Stevens, boy genius. And the Hawks, on the other hand, are they've they're 10 or 11th, I think, in terms of their half court offense. So it doesn't, and also they have matchup issues with Paul Millsap and
Millsap kills them.
Yeah. I would have a hard time seeing Boston get out of the first round. That'll be a fun series to watch, but.
That'd be great for us. So things lined up almost perfectly. Pretty good for a crazy last night of the year with all those teams playing and playing games that were close.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I wish I could have watched it. All right. So what to look for. So we're just going to break down some things to be watching for in this opening series against the Pistons. And I think the first thing off the bat, Matty, of course, is this is Coach Lou's first big test, and he gets to match up against a really good coach. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your confidence level at?
4, maybe.
Okay. Hey, we're on the scale. That's good.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I'm worried about most here is that change happened. I think we felt okay about removing Blatt and just felt like the thing to do. The team did not get better at all. Under Lou. I think it was worse. The record was certainly worse.
Yeah.
And none of the improvements that we thought we might see did we really see. Kevin Love, more action at the elbows, that happened for a minute and then was sort of gone. The defense regressed pretty terribly. It didn't seem like a team that was coalescing around its coach or its leader and wanted to play harder. Like none of that stuff happened. And on top of that, I have not been impressed with his roster management, or his rotation management, or any of the X's and O's that we've seen. And I've been impressed with any of them, honestly.
Yeah, no, I was bullish early on because I saw what he was trying to do, and it made sense. I was like, these are things that I wanted him to be doing: the Kyrie LeBron pick and roll, Kevin Love at the elbow, running lots of plays. Like I liked our emphasis on the half court, plus the pace. The pace is obviously smart, right? Pushing the floor.
I do like that. I still like that.
Yeah, likewise. And the ball movement is great at getting wide open threes. Like we are a dangerous team because we can score in a hurry. The problem is that if you don't pair that with a third leg of a consistent half-court offense that's dangerous, you're going to fall into lulls when crunch time hits. And if you fall into lulls, you're going to lose close games and you're going to blow big leads, which is what we did all season under Lou. And, it's a big worry for me.
Yeah. And this is just the first. We have a pretty enormous talent advantage in this series.
Yes.
But SVG, he's a smart coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to maximize what they do. He's going to throw some things at Lou that she may or may not expect. And I don't know. This will be an interesting. Spoiler alert: I don't think we lose this series, but this will be an interesting first test for him to see if he's up to snuff against the much more difficult opponents that we and he will face.
Exactly.
Later in the playoffs.
And before I get into the upside for Lou, I would say, I remember when they made the trade for Tobias Harris, I think I tweeted at Cavs something along the lines of like, never have I been so invested in watching someone miss the 8th seed. Because I just did not want to face this team in the first round. I mean, honestly, the Pacers scare me a little bit too, is in a similar way. But because of honestly, having a really dynamic big guy has always, athletic big guy has been a problem for us. So obviously Drummond this scares me. Miles Turner and the Pacers is something that scares me, and then they have other X factors for the Pistons, at least with Tobias Harris, who's really solid and good, and Reggie Jackson, who we have a really hard time covering on the pick and roll.
Yeah.
So the upside I would put in here is the roster management has bugged me. I don't think you should be figuring out roster decisions in the last month of the season. I think that should be settled by then.
Like all the back and forth of Mozgov's our starter, TT's our starter.
But then again, the regular season is different. If you want to play the matchups, which I kind of was in favor of a coach doing anyways, to change the starting lineup based on the lineups, it's easier to settle into a rotation or to change your rotation in the middle of the playoff season because you're playing the same team every day. You get to lock in a little bit more.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will be mitigated somewhat. And in terms of the X and O's, I really have no guess except that maybe because there's so much more practice time, you get full, at least to walk through and game plan things, maybe they will start actually doing some of that stuff. But again, my problem has always been they don't have basic motions or sets to run when their backs are against the wall and they're feeling that panic in their chest.
Yeah.
Then we go into hero ball. We still do that. We still go into hero ball and high pick and rolls. That's all we can do. And then you just got to hope that the air bails us out.
Yeah. Well, and that is one of my hopes if we could win a championship is that we've been sandbagging in some way during the regular season, which is just idiotic
to hope.
Fan hope. I understand fully, but no, Tyronn Lue really has some stuff in his back pocket. He's just been saving it. We haven't been doing all the things we want to do. Even Kyrie and Love have another level that we've just been holding for I can start to talk myself into that in my weaker moments.
So is this the Inigo Montoya theory of basketball? I am not left-handed.
Yeah. Yes. That's it exactly, which is dumb.
Yes.
On my part, I appreciate that, but that hope is in there somewhere, right? Is Tyronn Lue actually a good coach, and this is his time to start showing it, and he's actually super prepared, and they've been thinking of amazing things to do to beat the Warriors in a series that they've never shown. Right? That would be incredible. Yeah. I don't really think any of that's happened.
Yeah, I'd agree. Before we move on from Lou, in terms of the rotation stuff, one rotation thing he's been pushing in the last couple weeks of the year was having Kyrie run the second unit as opposed to LeBron or Kevin Love. What are your thoughts on that?
So I like it in theory. It's just that Kyrie has demonstrated no ability to do it sustainably with that second unit.
Yeah.
He's looked bad doing it. He's gone into peak over dribble turnover mode with that group. I like it theoretically, where you can just let him be the scorer, do that against second units. And especially because it's to this point, he and LeBron don't work great together. And LeBron and Love without Kyrie have looked pretty good. So I like that theoretically. We just need Kyrie to step up.
Yeah, and I kind of almost wanted to see more Kevin Love running the second unit because he does, 'cause then you can run him off the elbow, you can run some more plays for him. But I understand it's not great because when he doesn't have LeBron or Kyrie on the floor, even though obviously Kyrie obviously doesn't play well with Kevin Love right now. Love's numbers are still better when he's playing with Kyrie. The lineup I would have loved to have seen when LeBron sits in particular, and we see it occasionally. I want to see that a lot in the playoffs. Is Delly running the point, Kyrie playing shooting guard, and Love, and then again running the offense through Love and having Delly set him up because Delly can do that. That's how he plays. He's a point guard. Kyrie is sort of a scoring shooting guard, and that that I like seeing him in that role. And you can swap him out for JR too. Like that. That's why I kind of like the idea of having like Delly, JR things.
Let me ask you a question along these lines, Patty. I'm going to totally blank on the guy's name, so I apologize to him. But Sam Amico, who I assume you follow, there's another guy that works in that crew who he tweets out his recaps following Cavs games, and they're pretty interesting, I think. His take was in the playoffs that while we thought we had a deep team coming into this year, we're not deep at all.
Yeah, and
that our rotation should really be a seven-man rotation with Mozgov totally buried. Fry and Dellavedova being the guys that are coming off the bench, and Shump used sparingly in defensive situations throughout the game. And that's it.
Really?
Yeah. And no Mozgov at all.
The sparingly Shump thing makes no sense to me.
Barely any. I mean, Shump's been terrible this year.
I know.
So it doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, but
he's been full scale awful for almost the entire year. Arguably his worst year of his career. Yeah.
But we kind of need him to figure it out. We can't. If we want to give up, sure. we need his defense. We need his strips. We need him in the rotation. It's just been disappointing that he hasn't really,
But overall, the point of us not being that deep, I think it's now. I don't know that it matters that much because I'd rather play a 7 or 8 man rotation in the playoffs anyway. We know we're going to have to ride our guys.
7 seems steep this early in the playoffs. Like I'm fine with it getting down to 7.
I don't think that'll happen for the most part in this opening series.
Yeah,
but I think we get there eventually, and this will be a nice transition to the next point in our notes, Pat, which is this is where I wish we'd had picked up somebody like Joe Johnson. Because I think we're going to need to see LeBron at the 4 a lot more. And then that starts to stretch out our wings in a way that reveals weakness. Because you do that, and then you're running what? JR, Delly, and Irving?
Exactly.
Or Shump in there. I'd love to add another competent
that's the point.
wing, and we just don't have it.
That's the problem, is that we need Shump, or else because we need another wing. We need another wing. We have to play LeBron on the 4. Even if he's sitting as a 3, we need to play that positionally. And then it's not that you have Kevin Love out there and TT. Yeah, then you can keep him with a 3. But you need to have a lot of lineups where LeBron's at the 4. Who are you putting out there with him? Like Shump and JR are the 2 guys that should fill out the rest of your non-point wing spots. If it's not Shump, we're not putting Richard Jefferson out there. He is a disaster on defense, which has been the biggest disappointment. Like, honestly, he's not that terrible on offense because he can hit threes and he can sometimes make decent plays. Like, he's fine as a rotational guy, except that he's been a tire fire on defense. It's hard to get him out there.
He's old like we are, Patty. It's tough.
I know. I don't hate him for it. Like I like tall black Scooter, as I refer to him, because he looks like our friend Scott Fuller. But so that's why I don't believe that, because we're gonna have to make something happen. We're also going to have to make Mozzie happen, I think, and that's why and this is where we could skip our next note and go straight to the does Mozzie play, as you talked about earlier. You were saying you think it's going to be just Channing Frye and TT rotating at the center spot, which is fine. I'm happy seeing that.
And Kevin Love.
And Kevin Love, right? But Kevin Love's not going to play center against Drummond when Drummond's out there, right? Really? Because Love can hold his own against a lot of centers in the league, meaning hold his own, meaning not be a complete disaster, and hold his own long enough for us to double and recover if we want to do that, or at least kind of mess him up a little bit. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, this one will be the interesting take, right? Because Drummond is really the only. No, I take that back, because Whiteside's floating around out there.
Yep.
those are times where you normally deploy Mozzie. So I think we'll see. That'll be an interesting test of this first round, is how much do we go to him? Do we trust him at all? If he doesn't see action much in this first round series, then kiss him goodbye. We're not seeing him the rest of the way, I don't think.
I'd willing to put a big bet down that you see some minutes for him in the first half of the first game. And if they're a disaster, that might be the last you see of him. I think that's a likely scenario, but I do not think you don't see him at all, one, because we really need him in this series. We need him to bang up against Drummond. We need, because it's just to save Tristan's energy so Tristan can be Tristan. If TT is spending this whole series banging against Drummond, that's the other thing. Is I feel like we need Timo, even if he's not amazing, but we need Timo to unlock peak Tristan in this series.
Yeah.
If TT is banging against Drummond the whole fucking series, he's done. Like, that's what's so bad about this matchup. He's gonna be exhausted going into the rest of the playoffs already.
Nah, I'm not worried about TT getting exhausted. He's a maniac. There's so much time, especially in this first round. There's so many days between games. It takes forever. Like, we can.
It's only 1 day. It's 2 days between the first 2 games, but then it's only 1 day off every game the rest of the series. So it's not a ton of rest.
Yeah,
that's not surprising and not so great, but I really get those 2 days between the first 2 home games. Like, that's just dumb. What the fuck?
Well, the first round's weird because they want to get all the games on TV, and when it's non-weekend, it gets a little wonky.
But yeah, we need Timo to take some minutes. We just need 10 minutes out of him, honestly.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing will be how much, or if at all, they go to Haka.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I think they'll at least use Timo in Haka situations. One. Yeah. But and certainly I think Fry will be able to use up some fouls in those situations, since he doesn't normally foul that much. I think we'll use it quite a bit. I think we'll see it probably every game. Not for huge stretches, but just in choice situations.
I hope not. I'm not an enormous fan of it. I mean, aside from it just being boring basketball, I think it takes you out of your flow and your offense, and I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't love it. In spots, it's the right move, but it's like a overarching strategy.
No, that's my point. I feel like it's situational, but I think you'll find situations almost in every game where you use even a little bit, like the last minute before the 2 minute, just to get them, just to screw them up a little bit. And
yes, I'm fine with it like that. I just don't want to
do it like from
using it for a 5 minute stretch.
Yes, no, exactly. That'll make me mad. I'll hate that, but I don't begrudge them using it because it is, I think, the right move in a lot of situations. You just can't overdo it because it does take you out of your rhythm and all that.
Yeah.
So all right. So I think Mozzie's going to play at least 10 minutes a game. That's my bet. I think he will actually play a lot in this series. He probably will disappear in other
10 minutes a game is not that much, Patty.
I know, but it's actually a lot.
That's what you think we're going to see from him versus nothing.
Well, that means 2 full stints in the first and second half, basically, right?
Okay.
2 5-minute stints. I mean, I'd like to see him get 15, but I think because he's going to be unplayable at times, just because of the way he's been playing, he's going to get 10. And of course, if we get our scenario right where he becomes, our this year's Delhi, I think you'll be seeing him closer to 18, 20 minutes a game.
Okay.
But again, especially in this series, like if he gets 18, 20 minutes a game this series, Matty, I think we might be seeing his return. Meaning he'll get back into his rhythm, having played the right lineup that's good for him.
Right.
Maybe that gets him into it, and then we see what we can get out of him the rest of the playoffs. But I'm just hoping for 10 minutes out of him, and then we'll see from there.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Do we have anyone who can guard Reggie Jackson, Matty?
I don't think Kyrie Irving can.
Yeah, he's been horrible. He used to be better last year. Hey, Arthur. Arthur's joining the podcast, everyone. Hey, buddy, what's up?
To say.
You're playing. What do you think about Kyrie Irving? Good?
Oh, all right.
All right, good. Not quite a grammatical answer to my question, but I'll take it. Good job, buddy.
It's got to be Delhi and Shump.
That's why you need Shump. My God, we got to figure out a way to get him in the rotation. Because that's the thing. I'm not tied up on the Pistons' general lineup, but the problem is we can't really hide Kyrie on guys. Because who's their 2 guards? Is it Contavious? No, he's their shooting. No, yeah, it is
Contavious. Contavious Caldwell.
There we go. Past pronunciations. Contavious. Terrible.
Yeah, and that'll continue to be a problem because whoever we draw in the second round, assuming we get past the Pistons, will roll out the Hawks will roll out that 2-point guard backcourt. The Celtics are loaded with guards that we're going to need them for. So
yeah, you can't
so
hide.
let's see some Shump. We should see what we have, assuming he's healthy. I mean, I know he's going to go for game one, but
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's say Shump then.
All right,
Shump and Delhi.
Shump and Delhi. Delhi obviously can't guard him, but he's smart. He's crafty. He'll bump him. He'll be physical, and he'll take him out of his rhythm.
Yeah, he can Delhi.
I know we're Matty and Patty are almost done. Arthur is reminding me, everyone, that we have a play date at 11:30 we need to go to. So we have about 8 more minutes. So we'll try and wrap this up.
Let's get moving, Patty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's Delhi and Shump. That's basically it. Unless I think maybe Kyrie can figure this stuff out because Kyrie was last year again. Kyrie, he was passable on defense. Yeah, he had good moments against really good quick guards. Can he get there again? I just don't know.
That's one of the things that has to happen for us to take a leap.
Watching him get embarrassingly torched play after play by Jeff Teague, even in a game we blew them out in, was just very troubling.
Yes,
Teague was just cakewalking to the
at will.
It was just layups, layup line at will. He wasn't even going too much off screens. It was just driving right past him. It was just so disheartening.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with him. It's obviously we've talked about Kyrie and where his head's at, but I don't know. Maybe the playoffs and again there is something to be said for having the same opponent every night. It does help guys lock down on players' tendencies, and maybe something wakes up in the Cavs. And again, last thing I'll say before you get to your point is everyone keeps saying like you can't just expect the Cavs to wake up and be that defensive team they were last year. They obviously weren't in the regular season. I think we became that defensive team because of the playoff format, because we were able to lock in on one team.
And it was Tyronn Lue's defense.
Yeah, that's true, and he sort of took it back, but. Which is troubling, but
so that's the other thing too. Is this is a team that whose goals were the playoffs, right? And maybe one of the hopes is that they sort of disregarded the regular season and got bored at times, didn't care about it, and now they're ready to roll. Again, this feels like a little grasping at straws to me.
Yeah.
Especially frustrating watching the Warriors do what they did, knowing that they also felt that the postseason was what was really meaningful.
Yeah.
But God.
Yeah, this is be prepared, Matty. Get ready. Are you prepared for?
I've got that disappointment. That pit isn't growing in my stomach, Patty.
Oh, exactly. All right, let's get to the prediction time here. So, Matty, pick 3 things. The Cavs win if these 3 things happen. What is it?
Cavs win if they have. The first thing I was gonna say was if they play good, intense defense. I don't even think that's 100% necessary in this series. They could take some games off. I would like to see them do that. What I would like to see is for them to play really hard, strong, and win 4 games in a row without too much trouble. I think that happens if LeBron is LeBron and continues to play like he has the last month and a half of the season. They get decent production out of K-Love and Irving, and they sharpen up their D. I'll use those. I actually believe a couple of those things could go wrong and they could still win against this particular opponent.
Agreed, but I think we win easily if we, specifically the perimeter defense. Like Drummond's going to get a lot of his, but we can also foul him a lot and make him. If he gets the ball down low, we can foul him a lot, put him to the free throw line, and I think we have a way to game plan around that. The thing the thing that will make it really hard to cakewalk is if we can't stop Reggie Jackson on the perimeter or their other wings. That's my biggest concern. On offense, it's half court. Can we get good, easy looks at the basket with Drummond down there? I don't know. So the third thing becomes if we just keep crushing 3-pointers and are hot all series, then we'll win. If we hit 3-pointers, we'll win. Yeah. If we hit 3-pointers,
agreed. Even if our 2-point offense, so to speak, is poor.
Yeah.
I think against this opponent, just hot 3-point shooting could carry the day.
Yeah, hot 3-point shooting. I agree with you on LeBron. LeBron being LeBron and getting all psyched up about Tobias Harris. So LeBron, 3-point shooting, and perimeter defense are the 3 things I think that we have to deliver on to win easily. We could lose on one or two of those things and still probably win the series, but it'll be a much more upsetting series. And we'll get to our predictions in a second. But what happened? How bad does it have to get for make the Cavs lose the series, Matty?
Injuries.
Well, yeah, let's leave injuries out. Of course,
Okay.
injuries. That's not fair.
So taking injury away, then it means they go ice cold for an extended period from 3-point range.
Yep.
Show absolutely no resolve or willpower on D, and just mail it in, and that this team really is extremely fragile and just ready to fall apart. That's what it would mean.
Yeah, a reverse of the same three things that basically we said before. If the perimeter defense collapses and they don't show any, grit and determination and resolve to stop it, if they can't hit threes, and if LeBron can't save us, then things start to fall apart.
Yeah, and then that's absolute worst case scenario. I don't want to predict what happens if that happens. Let's leave that alone.
Exactly. Let's talk predictions. What do you think's gonna happen, Matty?
I'm gonna go Cavs in 5.
Yeah. I think that's right.
I want a sweep.
Yes.
I think if we're going to really make a run here, this is the time to say, all right, bullshit aside, season's over. Let's get down to it and really knuckle down.
Yeah.
So I would be winning in 5 won't make me feel any better, probably.
Well, let me put it this way: I would actually be surprised if we sweep them.
Yeah, I would too.
I would be surprised.
I think I would too.
I think the Pistons are good enough. That's one thing about the East. As we talked about this last podcast, I think, is that while we don't have the super teams that the West has, this is a much better conference for the playoff teams. Like the Pistons, I think could give could be. I think the Pistons could beat their 5 seed easily in the West, and I don't know if they could beat the Clippers in a series, but. They are legit playoff.
Yeah, you might be disrespecting the Trailblazers a little much. They're good.
Which is such a surprise, by the way. Like, holy shit. Kudos to the Trailblazers. Like,
very impressive.
Talking about them not even making the playoffs. Like, why are they stockpiling on 1 million, power forwards? That's a really impressive job at what they did out there. But anyway, I would be surprised if the Cavs sweep the Pistons. They are good enough to steal a game. And the Cavs are bad enough and consistent enough, and they rely on the 3, right? If they go cold from 3, I see them losing a game
for sure,
easily.
And Lou getting out coached for a game, all that stuff's there.
The Cleveland fan of me wants to say Cavs in 6, honestly, but I think it's more realistic to say 5 games. So Cavs in 5.
All right. Agreement
there. So briefly, I got 1 minute left before we're supposed to go to our play date, but let's we'll fudge a little bit. Briefly, some Rams and Tribe tidbits. Matty, the Rams traded the farm. The Rams took the farm that they got from the Washington Redskins in the RG3 trade a couple of years ago, and just turned it right around to the Titans to leapfrog from the 15th pick to the first pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
That changes things for the Browns here. It's interesting how RG3 kind of is still factoring all this. What do you make of their trade, and do you think we're going to now go away from a quarterback or just take the next quarterback that they don't take?
I sort of suspect we take the next quarterback that they don't take.
Interesting.
One, because I think that's the value of the second pick is lower now, right? Because you're not getting the quarterback that you want.
Exactly.
Unless the Rams totally tip their hand and whatever, somebody's in love with Wentz or Goff in that way. It feels like it devalues it. In some ways, it could also take some responsibility out of their hands. If it was sort of a coin flip between those two guys, now they're like, all right, we'll just take the one that fell to us.
Yeah.
I still sort of would like to see him trade back from it, honestly.
Would you? Aren't you kind of surprised that the Browns didn't make that trade with the Rams slightly less than that? To say, hey, Rams, we'll give you the second pick. You'll get your guy.
Yeah.
I think the Rams
I get it, though.
Leapfrogged. The Rams Rams want to make sure they didn't.
For sure, you can't do that, especially because the Titans didn't really want that pick. They don't need a quarterback.
So they could have easily traded somebody else. Right. Yeah.
I like that trade for the Titans, man.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's an amazing trade for them.
It's a big haul.
If they don't screw up the picks, they're going to be nasty in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Those are great picks. Throughout the whole draft. It's just crazy. My attitude is, I would like us to trade back, assuming they're going after Goff, because I don't want any part of Carson Wentz. I don't believe in him. He's
so big.
Yeah, but dude, he's played no good.
He's so fast.
He plays in a cupcake league. He failed the wet ball test, I thought, from Pep Hamilton. He threw a couple of ducks, and turfed the first one that he got. He's supposed to have the big hands. He doesn't. Yes, he played in the pro style offense, but against shitty competition, and I don't think he even played that many games. He's also 23. He's already like 23 or 24. Like that's. I'm not a fan of that. Whereas Goff looks polished and he's got I'm obviously sold on Goff. I've been sold on Goff for a while. The small hands obviously is always a concern, but in Cleveland weather, and so if it concerns them enough, I will forgive them for passing on them. But if we can't get a shot at Goff, I would like us to trade back or just knock the quarterback. I know I said RG3 without a quarterback is a terrible thing, but that's because I thought we had a chance to get Goff. So without him, I'd like to see us get a quarterback later in the draft and keep experimenting.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is this is all pointless because whatever we do is going to blow up in our faces. So
exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly. Who gives a shit? We're going to be terrible no matter what we do. Briefly, Salazar's looking nasty.
So good so far.
So good. Two just nasty starts. I think his ERA is still under 1 right now, which is just great to see. And tons of Ks. He just looks great. And it was a nice moment yesterday, even though we lost. Fatty Colon.
I love BK.
Fatty Bartolo Colon, who's about 60 years old and still pitching and pushing 300 pounds.
Still pitching well.
Pitching well. I mean, seriously, what does he weigh? 250?
I was listening to the broadcast yesterday. They said, I think he's 5'9" or 5'10", listed at 283.
283. That's a fucking offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Pitching. Holy shit. And in his age, how does someone that fat?
Yeah, he's 42.
Pitching
awesome.
in his 40s and is pitching well for one of the best teams in baseball. It's amazing. It's awesome. One of my favorite stories. I love Bartolo.
Love Bartolo. 14 years ago, we traded him. 14 years ago.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, that wraps it up for the Cleveland Sports Hour. We'll come back to you guys. I don't know when. We'll see how the first round goes. Maybe I'm not sure if we'll podcast in the middle of this first round. I think we probably might if we drop a game early. But maybe if we have time and things work out, we'll try to come back to you guys.
Yeah, we might be so excited we can't help but do it.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back to you guys in the middle after the first 2 games. But maybe we'll come back to you after the end of the series, like we did with the Hawks last year. So those are all possibilities. But until next time, this is Matty and Patty saying. Ship. All right, Matty. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs.
All
Talk to you
right.
soon.
See you soon, buddy.